I marvel. Everybody's getting caught up now in the horse race, the political back and forth of this. Did Obama have the power to do what he did? F. Chuck Todd at NBC. Come on, everybody, pipe down. Obama doesn't have the power to do what he did. Well, what did he do? You know what the regime is saying? But here, let me go back to Upton for a moment. This is the Republican bill being voted on today, and I guess it's going to pass. Oh, maybe not now? Really? He was going to have some Democrats. So are the Democrats pulling out of this thing? Aha. Well, now that is fascinating because the Democrats, there were earlier in the week, there were reportedly plenty of Democrats willing to sign on to the Upton bill, which basically just says what Obama said yesterday, but it doesn't. See, that's the thing. The regime was asked yesterday in the press conference. I didn't learn any of this until I got home last night. I wasn't able to actually look at and read what that press conference was so loaded yesterday. It's a shame. I wish I would have been able to figure it out during the program because it was loaded with stuff yesterday. It was absolutely loaded. And one of the things, Obama was asked, well, what legal authority do you have to change the law? And they cited some obscure court case from the mid-'80s and the FDA, which said that the courts have held, I'm paraphrasing here, the courts have held that federal agencies can arbitrarily choose to enforce or not enforce certain things whenever they want to, all the way back to the 80s, and they simply cited that. Now, that's really a brief overview. So what the regime is saying, we didn't change the law. We didn't change anything. We're just not going to enforce one aspect of it for a year. So they said, don't start talking to me about throwing away the Constitution or anything. We're not changing any law. We're just not going to enforce for one more year the fact that you got to get rid of your plan. Now, if we want, we can go back and recover, talk about again the idea you were never going to be able to keep your plan. I mean, the scope of that lie remains huge, fraudulent. If the political wins were different, it would be impeachable. I mean, it's huge, that lie, the scope of that lie, the depth and extent of that fraud, because everybody knew you weren't going to be able to keep your plan. You couldn't. I mean, it didn't. Existing plans had to go if Obamacare exists. Obamacare is its own law. Plan that you had that you liked legally, well, it was illegal. Your plan was illegal. And everybody knew this. Obama knew it. It's in the Federal Register. They knew that 93 million Americans were going to lose their plans. So now where we are is the regime is essentially saying we didn't change anything. We're just like we stood down on the Defense of Marriage Act. We decided we're not going to defend that anymore. We're not going to defend aspects of the DREAM Act. So we're just not going to enforce this for a year. And then nothing you can do about it. And that's why Obama's threatening to veto Upton, because Upton would actually change the law. And Obama didn't. By his own answer to his question yesterday, by virtue of what I have since deduced, they didn't change any law here. This is Obama not playing dictator. We just, we're not going to enforce the fact that you got to get rid of your plan for one more year. We're just going to stand down. And they cite, again, a court case from the 80s involving the FDA. Now, the FDA case involved, it was a much, much smaller scope than this. And it's not certain that that precedent would hold in this case. But again, all of that is irrelevant if nobody is going to take action against this. And Obama can do whatever he's going to do if nobody's going to stop him. Any president can. Any president can do whatever they want to do if nobody's going to stand up and try to stop him, including the media or the opposition party or public protest by the citizenry or what have you. So Obama, trying to head people off at the pass, is saying, I'm not going to enforce it. Now, Jonathan Adler writes at the Volok Conspiracy blog, and he says this: in other words, the regime is not changing the law. It's just announcing it's not going to enforce federal law while simultaneously threatening to veto legislation that would authorize the step the president's decided to take. That's the Upton bill. Now, does this make the renewal of non-compliant policies legal? No. The legal requirement remains on the books. So the relevant health insurance plans remain illegal under federal law. The president's decision does not change relevant state laws either. So insurers will still need to obtain approval from state insurance commissioners. This typically requires submitting rates and a plan specification for approval. It can take a lot of time. It's disruptive because most insurance companies have already set their offerings for the next year. It's no wonder that some insurance commissioners have already indicated they have no plans to approve non-compliant plans, meaning your plan that you like. They're not going to bring it back. A lot of insurance companies are not going to bring it back, which is fine with Obama. Obama doesn't care. All Obama cares about is that you heard him say, you get to keep your plan if you want it. It's now up to you to go through the hoops. It's up to you to convince your insurance company. And as far as Obama's concerned, you're going to hate your insurance company when this is all over because they're going to be the ones that don't let you have your plan back. And they heard Obama say that they can keep their plan for a year. So now the insurance companies are the bad boys. And if the Republicans sign on to this, they can, well, I don't know, it's unwittingly or who knows, take some of the blame, depending on how they deal with this. Now, and then Adler at the Volok Conspiracy does other things besides right there. And I've asked other sources about this. I'm waiting on replies from other legal eagles. Yet, even if state commissioners approve the plans, they will still be illegal under federal law. And that's the point the regime is. They didn't change the law. They're just not enforcing this aspect of Obamacare that requires you to say bye-bye to your plan. Given this fact, given that your plan will still be illegal, but with no jackbooted thug tracking you down to enforce it, why would any insurance company agree to renew such a plan if it remains illegal? It's nice that regulators may forbear enforcing the relevant regulatory requirements, but this is not the only source of potential legal jeopardy. So, for instance, what happens when there's a legal dispute under one of these policies? Say, for instance, an insurance company denies payment for something not covered under the policy, but that would have been covered under the Affordable Care Act. Would an insurance company really want to have to defend this decision in court? After all, this would place the insurance company in a position of seeking judicial enforcement of an illegal insurance policy. Let me take a break here because the time constraints of the programming format dictate it. Back after this.